Hello and welcome to the Browns Blitz. Today is Thursday, August 7th. This is episode number 307. I'm your host, Rod Bloom. Joining me today is my brother, Jeff. Hey, Jeff, how are things going?
Going good, Rod. I guess it's just another one of those weeks, huh?
Yeah, it is. Everybody's probably aware my father-in-law passed away early this morning. I thought a good part of the day about whether it was appropriate to record or not. But Steve was a big Browns fan all his life. Followed the Browns. Going back to all the way back to the beginning. So I think he not only would have wanted us to record, but I think it's appropriate to record and just kind of in tribute to him tonight. So
Yep,
to
sounds good.
my father-in-law, Steve Strump. This one's for you, Steve. So, Jeff, I guess we'll start off with what we're drinking. So we didn't talk about this before I launched. So I don't know. Do you have anything there?
Yeah, I actually found a different version of Athletic. So this one is an upside down golden that I picked up. And I had one of these
Okay.
last week, actually, while we were recording. So I picked up a six of this. And for me, this is, I don't know if I'm really getting this right, but it tastes kind of hoppy, which I'm enjoying.
So what's the upside down?
I really don't know. It's called Upside Down Golden, which I don't really know what that refers
It's supposed
to.
to have some pineapple in it or something?
No, there's no fruit in it. It foams.
Yeah. It's always a nice trick when you're on camera.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right, exactly.
Catch it before it runs down in front of you.
Right. But no, it does. It tastes a little hoppy to me. I would have thought with a golden that it would have been a little bit
Yeah.
smoother, you know.
Right.
But
Right.
but I mean, it's something different. Tastes good.
Cool. Well, it's always good to see you expanding that beer fridge, Jeff.
I'm
Probably got a
working
pretty
on it. Yeah,
nice assortment out there, huh?
I've got 10 or 12 different varieties out there now. So I mean, there's only so many that I can find. I mean, the stores don't
Right.
keep a huge assortment of non-alcoholic, but at least I've got
Well,
some variety. Yeah.
you're definitely doing your part to drive the market.
I hope so.
That's pretty cool. So I'm drinking an Ellicottville Brewing Company Chocolate Cherry Bomb. This is an imperial stout, but it doesn't really taste like a stout. It's, to me, anyways. It's more maybe porterish. I picked it out because of the chocolate and cherries. It's got a pretty smooth flavor to it. It doesn't really taste as dark as it sounds.
Uh-huh.
It is 8.2%. It's a little bit up there, but I mean the first bottle I grabbed was at 10%. I said, I don't think I want that tonight. So
Yeah.
so yeah, sooner or later, guys, I'm gonna have to start drinking some of the 10%ers on the show because they're starting to pile up out there.
Right.
Got quite a few of the golden monkeys out there and stuff like that hit at 10%, and you guys are just gonna have to put up with me maybe feeling my alcohol a little bit. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
So guys, based on what's been going on in my life, I mean, I'm going to be pretty darn honest here. I have not been paying a whole heck of a lot of attention to the Cleveland Browns lately. So haven't been on X much or anything else. So I prepped for the podcast, looked at what was going on and everything, but I wish I was a little bit more up to date. But I've got my brother here. He knows what's going on. So Jeff, I mean, I guess the first thing I wrote down was about the preseason game tomorrow night, but they had the joint practice
Right.
with Carolina. Didn't really
Yeah.
find much on that. I didn't want to watch super long reports on it. Didn't really have the time to do that, but it sounds like things were a little sloppy uh,
Yeah.
in those
As you
practices. A
would
lot of
expect.
penalties and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
first time really doing anything organized.
Right. Yeah. Um, I guess the takeaway that I'm most happy about is that it seemed like our number ones were up to the task against Carolina's number ones. So
Yeah,
they, the lines on both sides of the ball seem to impose their will at times um, against Carolina. So I think the fact that we're seeing a little bit more physicality in camp this year is going to pay dividends. The team is ready to play football. I hope that
yeah.
continues over the next few weeks. But unlike last year, we shouldn't be going into week one unprepared to play football. That seems to be the overriding theme. So that's a really good thing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's always the concern about injuries, but I think we've talked about this, and
Right.
it's it's something I think you got to do. I mean, you can't
Yeah.
take the first several weeks of the season getting the guys ready to play.
No.
You just got to take the risk and get the guys going, and like you've been saying, get them calloused up and um,
Yeah.
ready to go out there and play. And there's going to be some injuries, some nicks and some bruises here and there, and hopefully it's not a whole lot of serious stuff that keeps guys out for long, and hopefully it really helps the team to be ready to play ball. That's what we want to see.
Right. Right. Yep.
So I really mostly wanted to talk about the preseason game, coming up,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just what we're looking for, what we think might happen, what we hope happens, things like that. So,
Hmm.
um,
Yep.
so so first of all, Jeff, I'm a little confused because I'm looking at that there's stat lines out there for everything. So there's stat lines out there for the joint practice, and all the quarterbacks played in the joint practice. Okay, but
Right.
Dylan Gabriel and Kenny Pickett are out for the preseason game.
Yeah.
They
They
can't
they
play in the
only
preseason game.
Yeah, they only participated in 7-on-7s. So
Okay,
those were non-contact drills.
okay,
And
gotcha.
yeah, and just kind of almost like a walkthrough, little bit higher speed walkthrough. So that I guess that was as much as they were willing to run those guys out for.
Yeah,
Um,
makes
so
sense.
they're being cautious with Pickett and Gabriel in the preseason. I think either one of them could go physically. Maybe Pickett probably could. I don't know so much about Gabriel, but right now it just seems like they're being really cautious. You know, not a lot to be gained right now by risking further injury to those guys.
Right, right. Yeah. And I don't know what you gain by playing Dylan Gabriel a whole lot right now. He's been getting a lot of first team snaps in practice and that, so
Yeah,
probably not the guy that they need to see the most right now. Um,
right.
so Shedeur Sanders is going to start, and um, of course, I guess since our last podcast, the Browns signed Tyler Huntley, right? Or did that happen
Right.
before we recorded last? It may have been
No,
somewhere in
no,
between.
it just happened early this week. Yeah, so he's going to come in and play probably most of the second half.
I think so. Yeah,
Um,
it would make
on
sense.
on 2 or 3 days practice. So let's hope that he's a quick study and has learned the new playbook and doesn't revert to last year's playbook. So,
Hey, yeah, yeah.
that's what he
I
had
mean,
experience in, right? So um,
right. Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
I
he's
mean,
been here before, but yeah, everything's changed.
right. Not that it matters a whole heck of a lot what he does in the second half. I think he, he's a placeholder to take those snaps in the preseason. Um, we're really looking at how much progress has Shador made,
Yeah,
and is,
yeah,
is he getting up to NFL speed? For me, that's what I'll be watching. Is he going through the pre-snap stuff, and is he getting plays organized and executed, all those kinds of things. Not so much the result at this point, but what is he actually uh, doing? In going through the process, how effective is he? Right.
kind of the eye test versus what his numbers come out to be is what you're talking
Yeah.
about, right?
Yeah. Right. The results I don't think will matter a whole heck of a lot, but does he start to look like he's ready to play in the NFL? And you know, we pretty much know how the first few weeks are going to go anyway, and that he's probably not going to factor into those games. So this is a
Yeah,
great opportunity to get an early look at him.
yeah. I think there's a couple schools out there. I think there's still people who want think maybe that Shadur's being held back a bit, and that he should still potentially be the starter week one. And then there's another camp that's kind of thinking, this guy's behind. We may not even see him this year. Okay,
Mhm.
I tend to think he's probably somewhere in between. You know,
Right.
I have a hard time thinking that he's that far behind that there's no way he could even start a game this whole season.
Yeah.
You know, um, I don't know. I don't know. What do you think? I mean,
I,
or is that
yeah.
going to depend on how he looks in the preseason?
Yeah. From a ability to play quarterback at the NFL level standpoint, I think Dylan Gabriel, based on his college experience, probably was more ready when he was drafted as an NFL quarterback, more ready. So that's why we talked about um, you know high floor with him um, based on his college experience. He played in a bunch of programs that played more pro style type stuff, and Shador really didn't need to do a lot of those things. I mean, he was able to win on physical talent a lot of times
Yeah.
in his conferences, right? So,
Hmm.
um, yeah, I think that's really what creates a pecking order in training camp, and doesn't mean that one guy is more talented or more likely to win than another. It's just where they are in the learning curve. So you've got two veterans that have done that of course would be ahead of the rookies, and then you've
Right.
got a rookie who's got a really different college experience than the other one. Um, Look, it's with rookies, it's all about getting them to the point that they're ready to play and not having to go through a baptism by fire. So the idea that they're holding him back because they're trying to make somebody look bad, or why would they do that? I mean, they're it's all about getting it the best you can out of all of your players, all 53 guys that end up on the roster. So
Hmm.
hopefully Shooter keeps learning and progressing, and he's going to force them to play him. But
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't see any urgency to do that right now.
No, no, and I agree with you. I think we all want to see him in the preseason, just to be able to see
Yeah,
where he is. And I mean, there's
right.
excitement around the kid.
Yeah,
I think we know or feel, that he has that potential, especially with
right.
his accuracy. Um,
Yeah.
that he could be, he's the one guy that I think people feel like could be a long-term solution. So,
Right.
so
Yeah, there's a
everybody
possibility,
definitely
and
wants to see it. Yeah.
there's certainly some risk reward here in terms of how does he look in this game? Um, if he looks really bad, then certain people are going to say, "I told you so." If he looks really good, then other people are going to say, "I told you so." Um, the reality is he's probably going to have some good moments and some bad moments, and
Yeah,
everybody's going to
yeah,
say, "See, I told you so." So,
right. And people have to remember this is experience for him too.
yeah,
This isn't this isn't an audition to start, okay, to win the
right,
starting job.
right,
It's experience, and he
yep,
needs experience, just like Dylan Gabriel's going to need experience. Um, and the Browns, as we know, are more than likely going to need more than one starting quarterback this year, even
I
if
would
Joe
count on
Flacco starts. And yeah, I mean, even if Joe's playing well and the Browns win more games than we expect in those first six, we know how it goes. So
it.
you
Right,
want these guys to have experience. So
yeah,
so I know Tyler Huntley. I guess it really doesn't matter what he does. There's really no way he's going to win any kind of a spot on this roster, right? Do you see any way he wins a spot on this roster, Jeff?
well, what we've said in the past, barring a whole bunch of injuries, yeah, he's a camp body. And I think he
Yeah.
knows that coming in. I mean, when you've got five quarterbacks already on the roster, um, um, I guess every NFL player thinks, oh, there's a chance, and you have to think that way. But realistically, he's a camp body that's here because
Well,
of the injuries.
yeah, and he knows, like everybody else knows, that in the preseason, especially, you're auditioning for the other 31 teams too.
Correct.
So he's putting film out there, hoping that assuming he's not going to get his shot here, that if the Browns let him go and somebody else has a spot open up, that he's going to be one of the first guys that gets a call.
Yeah,
So
and he
hopefully he
will. I mean,
plays. He will. You're
yeah,
right.
he'll catch on someplace.
Yeah. I mean, I think not necessarily to win a spot, but I mean, we want him to play well because we want him to play well enough that we can see the wide receivers and we can see the offense when he's out there. If he
Right,
looks god awful taking his snaps, it's not going to help anybody, right?
right.
So
Yeah,
regardless of
you
who's out there, you want all these guys that are playing QB to be to reach some level of proficiency so you can analyze and judge the other players out there in the preseason.
right, and the offense as a whole. You want to be able to judge its efficiency, its productivity. That for me,
Yeah.
that's really the goal of these preseason games is being ready to put an NFL offense out on the field, which we never really were able to do in 18 weeks last year. So if we can
Yeah.
put at least a respectable NFL offense together over the next three preseason games, that's a huge win. That like you said, that gives you a chance now to really evaluate players. Um,
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
how successful are we at doing what we're doing as a team? But then to look at individuals and how they're contributing to that.
Yeah. With this new offense, I mean, we really don't know how complex it's going to be or how complex it could get. Stefanski likes to put wrinkles in here and there. How much of the new offense do you think you see throughout the preseason? Do you think there's really enough to judge what the new offense is going to be, or just kind of just give us a little taste of it, maybe?
Yeah, I think directionally, yes, you'll start to get a feel for what they're trying to do. Of course, they're not going to throw their whole hand out there on the table. They're
No,
going to hold some
right.
things back.
They'll save
Um,
the gadgets and stuff. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, but you want to establish the identity that we've been talking about offensively. I don't know how fully into that you can get with the personnel that you have right now. Um, that's part of the learning curve for these guys is, are we going to be able to run the ball like we thought we were going to be able to run the ball when we drafted Quinshon Judkins, knowing that he's not going to be here for a while. Those kinds of adjustments. But all in all, I think the offense needs to look at least reasonably effective in these games. That we're able to run the ball when we want to run the ball. We're able to pass the ball when we want to pass the ball. We're able to get some push on the offensive line and create some holes. We want to see DeJuan Jones hold down that left tackle spot, even if he doesn't play there a lot in the preseason. We want to know that we've got that problem solved. Things like that I think really matter over the next few weeks in terms of does Andrew Berry feel comfortable going into week 1 with the players he has, or are there other moves that need to be made to put a effective offense out there on the field?
Yeah. I want to go back to the QB talk just for a minute, Jeff. I saw that there are reports out there that the Browns received trade calls after taking Shedeur Sanders, and the trade calls were for Dillon Gabriel. Does that surprise you? I mean, it doesn't say. I didn't see what the offers were, what the teams were, or anything like that. I mean, the teams could have been saying, "Hey, we'll throw you a 6th rounder and 27 for Gabriel," because you got your guy now. You probably don't want Gabriel. I don't know if they were anything worth considering for the Browns. Obviously, the Browns decided to keep him, so it wasn't anything tempting enough.
I think it starts to explain why the Browns took Dillon Gabriel in the 3rd round. There were probably other teams interested in him later, that would have drafted him in the 4th or 5th round, right? But by the Browns taking him off the board in the 3rd round, they had to make other plans. And then when they saw that the Browns came back and took Sanders, they thought, well, gee, maybe he would be available in that role that we envisioned for him. Again, I'm just going to go back to what I've been saying since before the draft, that there were a lot of potentially solid career backup quarterbacks in the 2025 draft. And based on Dillon Gabriel's college career and his experience, he had a very high floor. The type of player that can, be a very effective backup for a lot of teams in the league. And look around the league at who the backups are. I think,
most of them used to play for the Browns.
Right. Yeah. And they were lousy here. Right. So, So it's a difficult position to tie up long-term. Those guys bounce around a lot. It's a season or two here and there. So I think having Dillon Gabriel as a solid backup quarterback who can fill the gaps when you need him to, is something that would be attractive to a lot of teams. So that's probably what started those trade talks, was people thinking that, maybe the Browns would be willing to move off of him because they've already got, 3 other guys that they're looking at. Right.
Right. And I mean, in hindsight, maybe it wouldn't have been a bad idea, but it, because they've already got, Flacco and Pickett, but it depends what the trade offers were, and you don't know what kind of offers they were getting.
And it really presumes that the Browns would not want to have 2 rookies. That they would only want to bring 1 rookie through the learning curve. And you and I were talking as late as early in the draft process that this was a perfect draft to take 2 swings. At the quarterback position, but get 2 different guys. Get a guy with the high floor, who can be, you know, a low risk type of draft choice, and then take a swing on a guy that you know has that high ceiling, boomer bust guy, you know. So that's exactly what the Browns did. You know, the fact that they had already signed Flacco and had already traded for Pickett, nobody really saw it coming. But
Yeah.
you and I talked about it months ago, that it made a lot of sense. You know, for
Yeah.
a team
It did.
that is looking for quarterbacks. You know,
And they don't usually listen to us in draft talk.
right,
They did
right,
this time.
right.
Yeah. Who knows? Somebody
But
was watching.
yeah, I mean, we're really trying to solve for two unknowns in the quarterback room. Every team needs to have a starter, and every team needs to have a backup.
Yeah.
And right now, those are both unknowns for us. So if Shador can be the starter and Gabriel can be the backup, and you've got those guys under contract for 4 years, man, that's a great situation to be in if you're the
That's a
Cleveland
huge.
Browns.
Yeah, that'd be a huge win.
Yeah, and even if one of those guys pans out in their respective roles, um, it completely alters what you need to do in the draft and free agency and everything next year, right? So
That's right.
there's really very little risk in what they're doing with the quarterback position. I think the only real risk is fans just looking too far ahead. You know, these are developmental guys in two different, in my mind, two different roles, two different positions that they're auditioning for, and they can coexist because of that. So we're going to benefit as a team. We're going to benefit as a fan base if they're successful in doing that. And let's not push them to change the game plan. Let's keep moving these guys along.
Yeah, and I talked about it last week, Jeff, but people are looking too far ahead in two different areas. That, you know, they're ready for Sanders to get the playing time and to start when he may not be ready, and they're also saying Dylan Gabriel's terrible. Why do we take him? He's no good. Why is he even on the team? Okay,
Right.
You can be wrong about both of those.
Right.
You know, they both need some time. Just give them some time. It's likely that neither one of these guys is going to start or get significant playing time through the first several weeks of the season. And by then, you know, if it is the time or it makes sense for one of those guys to start, they'll be more prepared at that point. That's my thought.
Right.
So,
yeah, and that's really, in my mind, that's Joe Flacco's job for this organization, is to come in and stabilize the quarterback position so that the Browns can build an offense, build a functioning offense that any quarterback can be successful in. You can't just throw 11 guys out there, the 10 vets and a rookie quarterback, and say, okay, let's create an offense. It's going to be a disaster, right? So Joe Flacco, I think, gives you the stability for the first however many weeks to put your identity in place, and now you've got something to build on with whoever becomes your quarterback down the road.
That's right. I want to just talk a little bit about what we're looking at, what we're watching for during not only the first preseason game, but the preseason. You know, the three games, and the Browns play at the Panthers, and then of course tomorrow night, and then they play Saturday the next 2 weeks. They're at the Eagles, and then they're home against the Rams. So we'll come back in just a moment and go over that, and we'll be right back. And we're back with more of the Browns Blitz. And Jeff, I think the first thing I wanted to talk about was running back. I mean, been beating running back to death, but it's for me, it's kind of interesting with Quinshon Judkins not being in the picture. And I mean, I'm not getting into the legal stuff. Don't want to, but I mean, the news that's out makes it look like it may be even longer, before he's able to play and all that. So you really
Yeah.
got to just kind of look at the season as who are the running backs going to be, and just kind of say, hey, if he gets to play this year, great. But I don't think you can count on him at all at this point.
Right.
So, so you've got the, Jerome Ford, the veteran, and then Dylan Sampson, who you hope is going to be able to fill a role as, maybe the starter, maybe a workhorse, or maybe just a guy who splits snaps with Jerome Ford. You got Pierre Strong, who's probably going to fight, for that third back job, to keep his job. And then you've got, I think, just two other guys on the roster. And I think the battle probably between those three guys for that third running back spot should be kind of interesting, between Pierre Strong, Amani Marshall, who's 6'1", 225, and really looks to me like, he looks like a pretty sure thing as a short yardage guy. If you want a guy to pound that ball in from the 1 or the 2, that's the guy I'm picking out of this group.
Yeah.
It just depends on what kind of role you're trying to fill. And then the last guy, do you know how to pronounce his name, Jeff? Is it Toa Tua?
Close enough.
Okay, Toa Tua.
Yeah.
I mean, he's played in whatever the other league is. I don't know. He's 25.
UFL.
UFL.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I watch the NFL, guys. Sorry. So he's 25. He's 5'9", 215. He's not a small guy, but
Right.
I mean, honestly, he's he's bigger than Dylan Sampson, but he's not a guy who's going to run through a brick wall for you.
Right.
Amani Marshall and Tua are both. They both look like they're bring your lunch pail to work kind of guys. These guys are not flashy.
Yeah.
There could be something there with either one of them, but these guys are going to grind it out. They're not going to beat you with their moves or anything else. So I guess I wanted to get your thought, Jeff, on what you're hoping to see, what you think might happen. Is one of these guys going to get more of a shot at that, at that number 3 running back spot right off the bat? I mean, you are expecting them to have 3 running backs on the roster, right? Or you think
More than likely 3. Keep in mind that the first 2 guys, I mean, Ford and Sampson are going to get. They're going to get 80 to 85% of the carries, at least, right?
Right.
What comes, the decision for that third back is really going to boil down to other contributions. What do they do on special teams? Pierre Strong had a fair number of snaps on special teams. I mean, probably 5th or 6th on the team last year.
Okay.
Special team snaps. So yeah, that third back is going to have to contribute on special teams and be able to fill a number of roles. So just because we like the way a guy looks physically or we think he would be good in a particular situation doesn't mean he's going to have a shot at that third roster spot.
Yeah, makes sense.
We've seen it in the NFL where guys can really come out of nowhere and be effective as running backs, and really what that boils down to is how well are the other 10 guys playing? Are we executing the offense? Are we creating places for them to run? For me, that's what I'm going to be watching in the preseason. Are we running into nothing, running into the backs of our own blockers and not having any sort of opportunity, or are we getting back to that offensive line philosophy that creates opportunities for our running backs. If we
Right.
see that, then we'll really be able to start evaluating the running backs. Should we shake it up a little bit because one guy looks that much better than the other guys? Or are they all just kind of struggling as a result of what's happening with the game plan? So I think this fan base would love nothing better than to see us get back to that offensive philosophy of just smash mouth running the ball, being able to get positive yards whenever we want to. And that's going to start with the guys up front.
Yeah. From what you just said, I would say you would probably pick Pierre Strong as the favorite based on special teams and what he's done in the past. I mean, I would think you'd have to assume that based on what's happened.
Look, I think if Quinshon Judkins was here, Pierre Strong would have a really tough time making this football team.
Yeah, I think so.
But
and we wouldn't even be talking. We wouldn't even mention the other guys.
Right. Yeah.
There wouldn't be a reason to.
Right. But as a result, I think, there's a possibility any of those guys could be the third back, but I think Strong probably has the inside track because of what he's done on special teams in the past.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, there's nobody that excites me as much as what was the guy's name last year? Is it Robbins?
Yeah. Aidan Robbins.
Aidan Robbins, who fumbled the ball once and went into the abyss, man.
Never seen or heard from him again.
Never appeared anywhere on a football field again after that, man. So
after
if you guys want to make the team, do not lose the football, not even once.
Right.
So,
exactly.
Yeah, kind of surprised me. So yeah. So what else are you excited to see, or what else are you watching for, Jeff? I got a few things written down. Then I'll go to you. I mean, the first thing I had is free safety and the potential battle there as far as who might start. You got to figure right now Ronnie Hickman's the favorite to start, but Damontae Kazee and Rayshawn Jenkins, they were signed. I don't know if either one of those guys will give Ronnie Hickman a fight, to start. Rayshawn Jenkins, I think, is like 31, and Kazee really didn't even start last year in Pittsburgh. So it'll be interesting. But is that something you're really watching, or is that kind of a foregone conclusion that you think Ronnie Hickman's going to win that?
Yeah, I think Ronnie Hickman's probably going to win it. I think those other guys are more in the Rodney McLeod role of the third safety, the veteran guy who will play a lot. But in terms of a true deep safety, I think Ronnie Hickman's probably the guy on the roster that fits that role the best. So much of what we're expecting from the defense is going to be driven by pressure up front. And if those guys can really get after the quarterback and create some opportunities for the secondary, it could be a lot of fun watching this secondary play if the Browns defensive line can exert the kind of pressure that we think it can. The pieces that they've put in place now and the depth really sets them up to be a very aggressive front four. And if that happens and they put quarterbacks under duress a lot, those guys in the back are going to eat. And everybody's going to love playing safety and corner for the Browns because they're going to have tons of opportunities, right? So for me, it's more about can Jim Schwartz fully leverage those guys up front to put pressure on the quarterback? I'm a little concerned that we have rookies in key roles, and these guys are going to need to fit together for a little while. I mean, I just don't know how they can come out of the gate this year like they did 2 years ago. I mean, 2 years ago, this defense was dominant right out of the gate.
Yeah, they were.
But they had a lot of veteran guys,
Mhm.
that knew their roles and were ready to go. I'm not saying that Carson Schlesinger and Mason Graham can't do that. I think it's a big ask to have them ready to do that in week one. It may
Yeah,
take
to have
a few
two
weeks.
guys start like that. Yeah, yeah,
Right. Right. So yeah, that'll be fun to watch in the preseason just to see how they're utilizing. And again, Jim Schwartz is not going to put all his cards out on the table in preseason. But you should see individual guys getting pressure on the quarterback, and that is what's going to make our defense fun.
yeah. He usually just plays like a 4-3 in the preseason, doesn't he? As I recall, I don't think he really goes to much of anything else, does he?
Yeah,
He
yeah,
just
no,
plays a
it's
four
it's
four
pretty
three.
it's pretty vanilla,
Yeah,
But
yeah,
again, the talent level that these guys have, they should be able to do some things without having to game those things in place. That without having to put plays on to do it.
yeah.
Um, so we'll see how that works. That'll be fun. I think the defense is probably where we're going to get most of our excitement this season. Um,
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
once things sort of gel a little bit.
yeah. I mean, I had defensive line written down next, and like you said, it really goes hand in hand with the free safety and the DBs. Um,
Right.
I mean, I guess you know I want to ask you, what's going to excite you there? I mean, aside from just seeing pressure from these guys, how are you gonna know that these guys are gelling early and feel comfortable that they're going to be, that Mason Graham and even Schlesinger are not going to look like rookies out there early on? I mean, what
Yeah.
kind of signs can you see that's gonna make you feel comfortable about that?
Well, I think it's about what is not going to happen. What would have to not happen, and that's getting gashed up the middle um, on run plays.
Yeah, yeah,
That would be losing containment and quarterbacks running for first downs. Um, the disciplinary type of things that you hope are there early on. Um, I mean, I don't mind seeing errors of commission where guys are really, they're trying to make a play and they make a mistake. That's fine. But
over
uh,
pursuit and things like that.
yeah. But guys just not being ready in the right spots and things like that, or not giving full effort. Those are a problem.
Yeah,
So um, you watch. Yeah, I think you watch to see. Um, how cohesive the defense is too, just like we were talking about on offense. Do they look like they know where they're supposed to be, and do they have an identity that they're going to dictate to the offense um, what they want to do on a given play? So
yeah,
yeah, the defensive line should be fun to watch. There's plenty of talent there. Um,
it's pretty deep. Yeah,
they should be able to get after the quarterback.
yeah, it should be.
And we saw what that did for Philly in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, yeah, that's for sure. Um, how about the Browns' new tight end, Harold Fannin? How excited are you to see him play? See how he looks against an NFL defense, whether it's first or second team. Um, And do you think we'll get to see David Njoku and Harold Fannin out there on the field at all together?
In the preseason?
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
I wouldn't
I mean,
expect it much, but yeah, I just wondered
yeah.
if they might do it at all.
Obviously, you want to install the 12 personnel early on and be practicing it. So we're going to see a lot of 2 tight end sets. I'm just not sure that they're going to fully expose Harold Fannin in the preseason. I think they're probably going to save a lot of that for the regular season. For me, that's going to be the heart of the trick plays on offense. Is
He's
going to
the
be
X factor.
where do they put him and how do they use him? I think he's the guy that can be the hardest to account for the opposing defense. So once this offense is really starting to click, you'll see that start to happen, and you'll know, okay, now we're seeing the full playbook, right? So again,
Yeah.
I would expect the tight end play to be a bit vanilla in the preseason. David Njoku's probably going to see limited duty. We're going to see the
we don't want him
depth
out there a
guys,
lot.
right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be fun to see that evolve over time. I don't think it's going to happen right away.
Yeah, Jeff, we didn't talk about it on the show. There was an article several weeks ago, maybe during rookie camp, that essentially said that Harold Fannin is more of a project than what people think, and he won't have a big impact as a rookie. And I almost think that was just total BS put out by somebody that the Browns said, hey, put this out because we don't want people to know that he is our X factor this season. If anybody watched, saw him play or even just watched some highlights of him, this guy can catch the football. Sure, he looks like he's lumbering when he runs, but it's just the way he runs, man. He's gonna be a factor.
Yeah,
the Browns will make him a factor this season.
He's not a traditional NFL tight end. He's going to be effective because they will utilize him in a bunch of different roles. And we've seen the Browns attempt that in the past with other players without a lot of success. I think he has the makeup to deliver on those kinds of things that we've tried to do in the past. I think Harrison Bryant, for instance, just wasn't built for that. I think Harold Fannin is.
I think Harrison Bryant, he had a couple of key fumbles. I think Harrison Bryant could have been more. I think he could have been a better tight end too than what he turned out to be if things had gone just a little bit differently. I'm not saying he was going to be great, but I think he could have been really, really a nice piece if things had just been just a little bit different for him. It just didn't work out with the way his career went because of I think a couple fumbles. I always liked him, but it was hard to give him a shot because of what happened. And I mean, it's a shame because he came in with with that reputation for being able to catch everything. So hopefully Harold Fannin is the guy we're thinking he is, but man, he sure looks like he is. And I'm not buying that he is a project. I'm just not buying it. So I got one more, Jeff, and then we'll see what you have. I wrote down left tackle, but for DeJuan Jones, it's really the offensive line. I want to see who plays and where. I want to see where they put Cornelius Lucas if he plays and Tevin Jenkins if he plays. I want to see if these guys play guard or tackle or right tackle or left tackle. I think that'll just be interesting and telling. I guess maybe not only for the experience, but maybe what they're thinking as far as the construction of the line and who's going to be on the team. I mean, obviously those guys are making the team, but who's going to be backing up who, things like that. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see all those guys play.
Yeah, I think two things as far as the offensive line goes. Number one, schematically, what they're doing and how effectively they're doing it, which we mentioned already. But then the second part is the young guys and how far along they are in the process to be ready to step in when those roles open up, either because of injury this year or because of contracts expiring next year. So in the preseason, I expect to see a lot of Luke Whippler and Zach Zinner and, the guys that we're counting on to be able to step in at some point.
You want those guys to look like they're in their second year or third year, whatever.
Right.
Like those guys are ready to start or close to it. Like they've taken steps. Yeah. I agree with you.
Yeah.
100%.
So we have a comment. Jeremy said Jeff gets his tight end. Not exactly, Jeremy. Not the true number 2 tight end that I was looking for. Harold Fannin is more of a hybrid. I think he can be effective in a number of different roles, but I've been screaming from the mountaintop for at least the past 3 seasons to go out and get a true number 2 tight end who could eventually replace David Njoku. I don't think that's Harold Fannin's timeline and horizon. I like him as a complementary piece, but there are other guys that I would have taken as a number 2 tight end if that's what we were trying to do. They would have had to be higher in the draft, though.
Yeah.
But thanks for finally accommodating me, Cleveland Browns, by drafting a tight end, period.
I'm telling you, Jeff, they're watching, they're listening. They take a tight end, they take 2 QBs, they take 2 running backs. They almost, if they'll only draft a tackle for you, a left tackle.
Eventually we're going to have to draft a tackle.
By the time they draft one, we may not need one.
Right. Let's hope so.
Let's hope. We haven't talked a ton about DeJuan Jones, but man, if he plays as good as he looks, the Browns have something because he really looks good. So,
he's in great physical shape this year. I think he's his body has finally matured to adulthood, I guess. He's a professional athlete now. Been through the off-season workouts and so forth, and so hopefully he holds up. That's the key. It's got to hold up physically.
Let's give him some credit too. I mean, this guy he had to have busted his ass, Jeff. This is a guy with a leg coming off a leg injury that got himself in this kind of shape and lost the weight and pulled the weight from here up to here. I mean, I think he not only lost some off his midsection and below, his chest, his upper body looks bigger too.
Yeah.
And I mean, and that had to have been hard to do coming off the leg injury. So, I mean, I think he deserves a ton of credit.
That's the time to do it, right? When you're rehabbing an injury, you hit the weight room hard. You do your best work when you're rehabbing an injury, I think. And it seems to have paid off for him. So, we're all holding our breath that he can stay healthy this year and be the effective left tackle that we need desperately.
Yeah. Jeff, do the Browns have more than one punter on the roster? I'm just curious.
Officially, I think they do. I'm not sure. I've not looked, but Yeah, you're
I
gonna
haven't
pretty
looked.
much you would pretty much wear one guy out in camp, especially with as many two field things as they're doing. But um, yeah, no one's coming in and taking that job
No one's
this year.
taking that job. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Now,
funny, but man, yeah, I'm kind of excited to see Bajorquez punt again this year.
I think long snapper is going to be interesting. I think that's going to be one of the tough decisions in camp. That's always just been a given for us
Mm-hmm.
the last 10 seasons or so. That was going to be Charlie Hewlett, and now, I mean, Rex Sunahara sort of has the inside track, but they brought in this young guy. I forget his name off the top of my head. Um, that's going to be I think one of the last decisions they make on cut down day.
I gotta say, Jeff, the guy they brought in, and his name slips my mind right now. The backup long snapper, forgive me, but
Yeah,
I was looking. He's not a very big guy, and I know you don't
right.
have to be 300 pounds to be a long snapper, but I think Sunahara is like in the close to 250 range, and I think the other guy's like 215, 220 or something like that. I just thought,
Uh,
man, is this guy really big enough that he's not going to get run over?
yeah, I
You
don't know.
know?
I mean,
Um,
my main concern is can he put the ball where it needs to be?
well, sure, yeah.
Because those
Um,
plays are over, long before his failed block becomes a problem.
well, yeah, but you don't want the guy killed out there either. You want somebody
Right.
who's going to hold up. That's all. And I think
Yeah.
Sunahara's got
Yeah.
him by 25, 35 pounds. That's
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
And so I
Could
don't know
be.
if I don't know how much of a factor that is. I don't. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on long snappers. I know the snap is what's important, but to me, body composition has to weigh into it at least a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. You're playing against grown men. That's for sure.
yeah. So, what else are you looking for or watching for in the preseason game, Jeff?
Well, the young wide receivers, I think, who's going to really grab that third wide receiver role. Um, I think we definitely need to nail down who our slot guy is going to be. Um, everybody's talking about this kid from Mentor in Kent State, Floria. Um, that would
Those
be
guys,
so exciting.
those
But
guys never make the team. They
yeah, he's a
never
he's
make
a
the team ever.
tiny guy that yeah, I just it's a great story. I just don't know
They just
that he's
never
got much of
keep
it.
those guys. They never keep
Yeah,
those guys over a draft pick.
yeah,
They just never do.
yeah. Um,
I mean, I wish them luck and everything.
right. Yeah. Um, Deontay Johnson um, has looked like a Pro Bowl wide receiver in drills. Um, question is can he stay on the straight and narrow and not nuke himself off the team?
Yeah,
Um,
long enough to at least make the 53, and
right,
not even
right,
talking about staying here all season.
right. Uh, so yeah, for me that's kind of the big unknown is I know that Judy's going to get 1,000 yards or give or take, and nobody else on the team is going to come close to him.
More than likely.
If we're lucky, Tillman will end up with 500 yards or more if he stays healthy, and then the rest is going to be kind of scattered around to 4 other guys. Yeah, it'd be nice if we sort of found a diamond in the rough there, but not really holding my breath on it.
I think ideally, if Flacco's playing well and the Browns actually won some games and Joe plays longer than we think and he's flinging it, you got potential that that Judy's going to get his yards. If Deontay Johnson, and I'm not betting on this, but if he actually stayed on the straight and narrow and played well, I mean, he could be your number 2 or number 3 guy.
He could
You
be.
know,
Yes.
that's in an ideal situation. And then you got Tillman, who's the other guy. And I mean,
Yeah.
those guys can both put up, 500 yards plus
Yeah.
in a season.
Yeah.
And then,
You're kind of hoping for everything to go right. Yeah.
well, that's if everything did go right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, I don't know what the Browns are doing at wide receiver. I think it
Right.
almost feels like they're betting on Deontay Johnson at this point,
Mhm.
to be the number 2 or number 3 guy,
Yeah.
which is that's a pretty big gamble, despite how
Right.
he's looked. Just because we know what's happened with him over the past season or two.
Yeah.
Um,
And that's one of those spots that, like I said in the open, that maybe Andrew Berry has to go out and address before week 1. If you're just not liking the way things are shaping up. I think the fact that Shedeur is playing this week and he's been throwing to a lot of those end of the bench guys throughout camp and in mini camp. There's some timing and some comfort between them. You could see some of those guys look pretty good in these preseason games, and it may create a whole conversation around, okay, should we keep this guy or that guy? But ultimately, I think the coaching staff in the front office is going to be looking at, are we deep enough? Can we run a pro offense with the guys that we have? Or do we need to go out and make another move?
I think it all comes down to Tillman and Deontay Johnson. And are those guys going to be productive and going to be available? Because, if they are, you're not in terrible shape. I'm not saying that's a good wide receiver room. They might feel somewhat comfortable, but, anybody else is going to look at that wide receiver room and say, man, you pick any other wide receiver room in the league, it's probably stronger. I almost feel like they're going to do something after cutdowns, that there's got to be somebody available that can make this team. It almost feels like that has to happen. Especially if they carry 6. I don't know if they're going to carry 6 or not, especially the more and more people are coming to the thought, and I don't know if the Browns have tipped their cap on this or not, that they're going to carry the 4 quarterbacks into, on the initial 53. So
that seems like a foregone conclusion at this point. So where does that roster spot come from? Does it come from the line? Does it come from the wide receiver room? Does it come to running back? Linebacker? Who do you not keep? Right. For me, it's sort of logical that if your wide receiver room isn't all that great to begin with, why keep 3 guys who just are marginal, who aren't going to really get much opportunity anyway, unless they really can contribute on special teams.
How often are you going to have 4 wide receivers on the field?
You're not in this offensive philosophy.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
We've already said that David Njoku is probably going to be the number 2 target guy. If Harold Fannin becomes that X factor, and Cedric Tillman can give you anything, consistently throughout the year, that's enough to be able to throw the ball to, I think. Would you like to develop a deeper, more talented wide receiver room over time? Yeah, for sure. I don't think it necessitates a panic move right now when we're really not expecting to be a playoff team this year anyway. I think let's see what our third, fourth, and fifth receivers give us, and let's not worry about who that 6th guy is.
Right. You're still hoping that somebody emerges out of this wide receiver room.
Yeah, maybe Jamari Thrash.
To build on.
Yeah, maybe somebody like that starts to, get some opportunities and capitalize on them. That's really not the Browns' MO, though, to suddenly throw the ball to a young receiver.
Not really. No,
Doesn't really seem to happen, you know.
no.
So yeah, maybe somebody will come available that's a good fit from a money standpoint that we can incorporate into that room. Just give us another weapon. Um, but again, I'm not all that worried about it, even if they don't.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've been hoping they would do something just because I feel like, especially if you're playing the rookie QBs, that it gives them a better shot if they've got, quality wide receivers to throw to.
Yeah,
But, I mean, you've been talking, Shadur's been throwing to these end of the bench guys and it's been going well. So it's probably more about working with the same guys than it is about, you know, having superstar wide receivers out there, maybe. So,
right. Yeah,
so we'll see what happens. I mean, you have to feel like the wide receiver room is going to be addressed. If not before the season, it's going to be addressed. Before next season, it's
right.
got to be. Just
Yeah,
so this means they're going to give some of these guys a shot this year,
right.
along with some other
That's
young
fine.
guys.
That's
Yeah,
I'm fine with that.
yeah, definitely. Anything else for the game, Jeff?
I guess I'll wrap it up by saying that Shador is probably going to look really good at times and really bad at other times. Let's not read too much into it. Um, yeah, I just like we said earlier, I want to see him get some game experience at the NFL level and start to get a feel for what he's capable of.
Yeah,
I mean, if I'm making a prediction, he'll probably throw 2 touchdowns and get sacked 4 times. You know, when he gets sacked, we're going to say, "Oh my God, those are ugly plays," right? Um, but that's how he played in college, and we want to see him improve on all of that, make good decisions with the football. But it doesn't all have to happen at once. Let's give him some time
yeah,
to get it figured out.
yeah, yeah. I'm with you. I would rather see a sack than a turnover, too.
Well,
Sack's
that's
not
true.
that's not the end of the world. So,
Right. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Well, do you have any closing thoughts other than that?
No, just look, enjoy the fact that we're watching football again.
Yeah.
Um, they're
Yeah.
suiting up and they're going to play tomorrow night, and there's plenty of things to be entertained by, even if they don't look great all the time. Just enjoy watching some of these young kids get their feet wet, and hopefully they start to work some of the bugs out over the next few weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Okay. Well, we hope everybody enjoys the game, regardless of the outcome or how imperfect some of the plays or the players look. Um, on a personal note, I want to thank everybody. I put tweets out about how my father-in-law was doing, and I got just a lot of well wishes for not only me but the family. I just want to thank all you guys for for all of that. We all go through tough times, and it's just nice to kind of be buoyed up when you're down in those times. So I definitely
That's
appreciate that. So yeah,
nice example of social media at its best, Rod. There's far too many
absolutely.
examples of social media at its worst.
Absolutely. So we might argue about this, but when somebody's going through something like this, almost everybody's very, very nice and positive, and right there to say a kind word, and I definitely appreciate it, as does the family. Um, so with that, we're going to close out, guys. So this has been the Browns Blitz. We thank you for listening, and we will catch you next time.